We all have really interesting, complex stories in our families, and families, sometimes need some motivation, to talk about it and preserve your own family history. And if that's something we can do with this film, it was all worthwhile.
Welcome to Bitch Talk. I'm your host, Erin.
And I'm co-host Ange, aka Captain Party.
And for more than 11 years, the show has celebrated underrepresented voices in pop culture and beyond.
But not in the snore kind of way, which is why our listeners and followers have graciously voted us Best of the Bay, Best Podcast on 48 Hills for 3 years in a row. Three-peat, bitches.
If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram and check out our website, Bitch Talk Podcast, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're begging you to judge us. When does that ever happen? Oh, you're not going to say anything?
What'd I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, on with the show. Clink.
All right, Bitch Talkers, we are very excited to welcome back a filmmaker that we've had on, I don't even know how many times now, maybe 4 or 5, and someone else that is new to us, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves because they're both a part of this film, short film called Danielle Scott, Ancestral Call. So I'm going to have Sonia start.
Okay. Hi. It's wonderful to be back on your show. And yes, it's been a few times now. I always love talking to both of you. We're here with Danielle Scott, Ancestral Call, and can't wait to talk to you about it. And I'm also happy to introduce you guys to my wonderful partner in crime, Tetiana Anderson.
Yes, bitch talkers. I love that you call your audience that, and I couldn't wait to actually just say it myself. So the only reason I'm here is to say bitch talkers multiple times.
Yes.
But I am Tetiana Anderson. I'm a partner in Starfield Media, which is the production company that Sonia and I share, and where we made Danielle Scott Ancestral Call. So we're really excited to talk about it.
Great. I'm going to have Tetiana introduce the film to our bitch talking audience.
So, Danielle Scott Ancestral Call is essentially a short film about an artist called Danielle Scott. And what's amazing about Danielle is that she uses her work to tell the story of the intergenerational trauma left behind by the transatlantic slave trade. And she does this through the lens of ancestry. And Danielle's ancestry is actually incredible. She is Afro-Cuban, she's Polish Jewish. She has Asian in her blood. So she is the sort of archetype of all of the people that she is talking about when she goes back into ancestral archives, into records of slave trades, when she goes onto plantations to look at the people that she will feature in her artwork. So this short documentary sort of paints the picture, no pun intended, or pun intended, she's not a painter, about the layers of history and the layers of, I guess, multimedia that she uses, because it's not just about, pen on paper. She uses collage, she uses resin. So Sonia actually found Danielle, which is a hugely interesting part of how we got to Danielle anyway.
Yeah, so one day, very spontaneously, me and some friends, we went to Governor's Island by New York City, and we walked into, an art exhibition that just captivated us. It was this collage work on the walls that had all these layers of like old photographs and archival and cotton, and it was just like so much beauty in it, but also depth. And my friends and I, we were just walking around and just like admiring the art. And one of my friends, Athena Jones, she was looking at an art piece called Athena and taking videos and photographs. And I just said, like, wow, this is really incredible art. And I hear this voice behind me, and this woman said, I'm the artist. And that's how we met Danielle Scott. And that was June 17, 2023. And in that first conversation, I asked Danielle when I found out how much effort she puts into her work. She researches for years before she even starts, creating some of her collages. She goes out and picks cotton herself. She really immerses herself into the research. And so I asked her, has anyone ever documented your work? And she said, no, but I would love for someone to do this. So I asked her right then and there, could we make a documentary film about you? And 2 years after that, on June 17, 2025, PBS American Masters released the film. So it was like exactly that same date that we met. So, all of this means that, this whole journey is very special to us.
I'm going to add a very personal note to that. Sonia left out, and she left it out kindly, but I'm going to put it back in. So we met Danielle June 17th of 2023. June 17th of 2024, my father passed away. June 17th of 2025 is when the film released. So, these are such pivotal and personal dates to us for a variety of reasons. And we're eagerly looking ahead to what's going to happen June 17th, 2026.
Mm.
I
Oh,
don't know what to do with that. Go ahead,
I
Ange.
don't, no, that gives me chills. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. It's so serendipitous and beautiful, and that those sentiments definitely shine through in this short film. I love
Yeah.
how she's soft spoken but a mighty force.
Mhm.
Can you talk about following her through her artistic process? Because, like you said, it is so immersive out there in the cotton fields and putting together, finding the photography. It's just such a beautiful process.
One of the things, if you see the film, and we hope that if your viewers have not yet seen Danielle Scott Ancestral Call, they'll go to YouTube to watch it. And of course, drop a comment, let us know what you think about it. The interesting thing before I get to your question is that this film has generated so much conversation. We were not expecting that at all. But it's one of those films that makes people think about themselves, think about their communities, think about other people, and generates a conversation about how we're all immersed in our own cultures, histories, and what we share. And it's really powerful to watch that. But you asked about, Danielle's process, and it is extremely immersive. I think that's the word that Sonia used. And if you talk to Danielle and if you see the film, you will hear her talk about how when she's doing her collage work, it's made up of a bunch of photos, archival images from various points in history, in Black American history. And she says that the photos, she doesn't pick the photos actually pick her as she's looking through them. So she's extremely connected not only to what she puts, on canvas, but to what she is deciding to put on canvas, whether she's visiting a plantation. And there's a particular piece of cotton or a part of the field that speaks to her, or whether she's in Africa exploring African um, roots of slaves who came this way, whether there's a particular shell or something that speaks to her. And if you look at her studio, which is at Mana Contemporary in Newark, New Jersey, you can see all of this. She actually has weights that were used to determine how much a slave picked in a day, right? She has chains, she has shells, she has cotton. She is not only her work because of who she is historically, ancestrally, but because of how she relates with the things that she puts onto her canvas.
Mhm.
Yeah, and what we really try to capture with the film is that feeling when you actually are in real life in front of her art, because it's just full of layers. Like you see that first, image and it looks beautiful, but then you step closer, and that's what, I think the beauty of her art is that there's so much to discover in it. There are these archival photos that she spends years trying to find and that find her of people who she wants to honor. But then there are archival documents. Like it's really history that she captures. And what we try to do with the film is to get across a part of that by using projections. So we received some of the videos that she filmed, and she had filmed of herself walking through the cotton fields, and we projected them onto her. So we were really, we wanted to use film as an art medium, and kind of the whole range of what you can do with documentary film to get across her art and her story. So we used projections. We did the main interview, the master interview, in a very theatrical setting. So we basically staged it, and we interviewed Danielle along with her children, or two of her children, who she co-creates art with. Danielle is very collaborative. That's really part of her process, that she creates with other artists, but also with her family. And so she did multiple art pieces with her son and her daughter. And then she also co-created with a composer who we actually made the composer of our film as well, who sits on that stage with her and live performed the film's score. So it was pretty high risk, because we recorded the film's music in that one setting, and we could really just hope it would work out. But I think that's what gives it this kind of real haunting quality, because this is not a studio recording. It is a documentary stage recording of the music performance.
So it's funny because, Danielle is such a layered human being. I talked a little bit about her ancestry earlier, but she creates such layered art. So as filmmakers, we wanted to honor that by creating a sort of very layered film that would reflect not only who she is, but also what her art is all about.
You're getting into my next question, which is perfect, and you can dig into this more, but there's a mood to the film. It's really intimate, it's gentle, there's quiet parts to it. Can you talk about how that enters into the film? Is that while you're filming? Is it after the fact? Is it pre-production?
I will answer for me, and then Sonia should answer for her, because as you ask that question, you are absolutely correct, but I actually never really thought about that until you
Same.
just answered this question. And that's funny Sonia said same, because one thing that's funny about us is, like, we're kind of the same person. Like, we will send each other the same article at the same time. We'll, like, say the same thing at the same time. We'll not understand the same thing at the same time. So this is perfect.
That's relatable, right, Erin?
Yes, correct.
But, thank you for that question, because it does make me think. But, I think that it was, for me at least, quite unintentional. But it's very reflective of, I think, sort of the risk we took in how we produced this film. Because it could have all gone to shit, right?
Yeah.
But instead, what I think happened is that it all actually really very organically reflected the subject and what we were trying to do. So the fact that you noticed that, and the fact that that was there, for me, was a happy accident, but it's perfectly in line with the kind of production that we wanted to leave the viewer with.
Mm.
Yeah, this is really such a keen observation, and it also, like, same thing, it makes me think and go through the process. I think part of it is that um, we took the time to observe Danielle while she was in her studio, and really reflecting, and she always says to us that in her studio she can feel the spirits. She's
Mm.
a very spiritual person. And we, like, this whole film, like every documentary film, but I feel this one in particular was a collaboration of um, of people and creatives who really, like, just all of us had the strong connection to Danielle, including Jui Peng, who is our director of photography, who is such a, like, wonderful observer and an artist herself.
Mhm.
And I think what she captured, what the film opens with, is that moment in which Danielle like really feels the spirits around her. And you can only do that if you take the time and step back and like Julie was doing so well, really, wait and see what happens. And I do think she captured this really special moment that comes across this moment of silence, this quiet moment. And then our editor Maxine Gödecke, she's also someone who really works with intuition and puts so much thought and intention into her work. And she was actually the one, when she first saw Danielle's art, who encouraged us to take a projector and just try it out. What happens when we had not done this before? What happens when we create these layers? Like, is it, what would we find in it? And just encouraging us to try it out and play around and experiment. And then she took what we brought back to her and really worked with both Janetza Maria Miranda, who's the composers for music, which is so haunting, and let the
Mhm.
music, drive some of that rhythm, and as well as like the mix of observational footage and sort of the more like stage theatrical parts of it. And I think that's how it came together.
Wasn't it Maxine, also Sonia, who had the idea to actually set up the stage? That was
Yes.
Maxine. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
love that.
We were,
Yeah.
I did too.
yes,
Hmm.
like we really, I think it's, and that's what makes our work, and this like collaboration so personal, is that we don't, just go out and like separate all these processes and the team members, but
Mhm.
we always try from the start, and we've done it across, our films, like incorporate, everyone who we collaborate with, because it's such a fluid process.
Mhm.
And I think that's what connects us so deeply to Danielle's work as well, because she really believes so deeply that art is collaboration. And it really becomes more of that when you start out with it,
Yeah.
when you sit together, when you talk. It's like, this is the art, like, what are your ideas?
Yeah.
How could we elevate this film to an art piece itself in the
Yes.
edit? What do we have to capture and film and prepare to get to that point? And I think that's what makes it, so special to all of us.
I love that her art challenged the both of you to become better artists yourselves. It's so beautiful. It's just a full circle moment. And that kind of brings me to what I wanted to talk about while I was watching the film. You mentioned a lot of people, it's been a big conversation piece in a way
Yeah.
that you didn't expect. And for me, when I was watching it, Danielle's job is to be a storyteller, to keep telling these stories of our country's history. You two, as filmmakers, as documentary filmmakers, that's your job too, to expose these stories. And for Aaron and I, that's what we love doing as well. It's just like, in a time when our history is either being ignored or people are trying to change our history, it's so important what we are all doing for each other, not just to share our own history, but to share others.
So on that point, you're absolutely right. And the beauty about what we do and about what you do is that these are real stories. This isn't a narrative. These are stories of real people going through real experiences, doing real things. So in that sense, you can't change that. Fact is fact, right? And we are so thankful that we were, I don't want to say given an opportunity, but that we were able to come together to make this opportunity, thanks to PBS, who actually commissioned this project, as well as Firelight Media, who paid for the project to get done, right? And that gets back to this whole idea that you were talking about the importance of collaboration, and whether it's the creation of the art. On Danielle's end, the creation of the art on our end, the creation of the ability to make this art public on the end of PBS and Firelight, it's a real team effort. And again, just back to the idea that these are real stories. You cannot stop fact.
Yep.
You cannot stop that.
Mhm.
And when so PBS American Masters released it on the PBS YouTube channel, and that's where when it got this wide distribution, that's where we really realized like the impact of it because of course we were just immediately like really fell in love with Danielle Scott. Like
Yeah.
she is such an incredible person and storyteller and artist and mother and collaborator. Um, and but yeah, a historian, as she said herself. So we wanted to get her storytelling and her history lessons, her teachings out. But what we didn't expect, and that's why, YouTube has been such an amazing forum, is that people then in the comments starting sharing their own stories.
Mm.
And that's where we in the first week, so this film was released in the week of Juneteenth, and and then we started reading people's comments that were coming in, hundreds of them, where they were sharing family secrets, that how about their complicated, like like family histories, like
Yes.
how, what people were talking about in families, what they were not talking about. And honestly, it's been people sharing their stories from all over the world. That's what we really didn't expect, that you can see, with such a reach, that somehow this film resonates with people who are in Indonesia and
Mm.
like in South America, and they all found in Danielle's storytelling something that motivated them to then share in these YouTube comments little parts of their own family history. It was said, oh, I'm actually now going to sit down and I'm going to create art or collages
Mm.
about my family. And I think that's also, of course, so special about Danielle, but it also reflects Tetiana and my own sort of background. And I think of many of us that, we all have really interesting, complex stories in our families, and families, sometimes need some motivation to share, even within your own like little microcosmos, to talk about it and preserve your own family history. And if that's something we can do with this film, it was all worthwhile. And that's why we are really, we are doing this awards campaign, we're doing screenings, museum screenings, festivals, because yes, we realized it has opened the door for people to just reflect on their own ancestry. So we hope to do more of that.
Mm.
I love that. I feel like it's because we're all connected in some way. Um, we just are.
Yeah.
Um, I do want to talk about quickly the use of the James Baldwin quote throughout the film. Um, how did that choice come up? Did Danielle have any, say in that? Was she drawn to that quote? How did you pick that for the
That
film?
was actually Stanley Nelson, wasn't it, Sonia?
No, it was Maxine.
It was Maxine?
Yes.
So, okay, basically, Maxine did this whole film. She shot
I know.
it, she found
Like,
Danielle, she edited it, she created the music.
We
She
love
stars in it.
Maxine. Like seriously, we love like our team members. It's
Yes.
like there's so much back and forth always, and it's so hard to separate sometimes at the end. Like
Who
how
did
did it
what?
exactly? How did it first develop? And I sometimes go back to Maxine. It's like, oh, like wasn't that your idea? And she's like, I don't know anymore. But I'm pretty sure that in this, so Danielle is she really is a historian, and she's an educator too. So she's been a teacher for more than 20 years,
Yeah.
and so you can tell that at her core and her art is to yeah, this conversation, like the conversation I think that she has with her students, that she brings into the world and stays connected with them even when they are adults, and kind of this back and forth, and kind of going back into history, and studying and constantly learn. She's constantly reading and learning and studying herself, and that has been inspiring us to go into the archives. And what Maxine, our editor, was doing is that she was picking up on quotes and on things that Danielle said in her interview, and was like going into this like research rabbit
Mm-hmm.
hole. And she came up with this Baldwin speech.
Mm.
And she's like, oh, this is so much like, it really reflects Danielle's work. And so we put it at the beginning of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we went through our process of, screenings and feedbacks with American Masters and Stanley Nelson, I think, and that's what Tetiana remembers, Stanley was saying, this quote is
Exactly.
is so powerful, and let's repeat it again. So it's really, like knowing where you're coming from is like educating where you're going. Like and I think it speaks to what you were just saying, Erin, too. It's like we are connected. We
Mm-hmm.
are connected to each other. We're connected to our history, to our families, like, and in a way, I think it's also kind of what we all need to get through hard times is community, right? It's it's
Mm-hmm.
it's community, and feeling the positivity of being connected and learning from our history, and paying it forward, and educating our the children and young people, and not forgetting where we are from.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, we're gonna wrap soon, but we have two things we need to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want you both to talk about Girls Gone International.
Well, it's actually a partnership that we have with Girl Gone International, and the partnership is called Bad Women. So it's Sonia and myself and Ann Scott, who is the founder of Girl Gone International. But basically, Bad Women is a new content studio that we started. It's a community for women like us, women of a certain age, where we can talk about things that were once taboo. Things like perimenopause, menopause, older dating, family in all its forms, the importance of community, the realness of fighting through loneliness, right? So we've started this on YouTube and Substack, as well as Facebook and Instagram. And what's beautiful about it is the partnership that we have with Anne and Girl Gone International, which is a community that she started about 15 years ago. And it's a friendship community. It's the largest friendship community for women in the world, as far as we know. She has about 1 million members. She has an organic reach of 30 million. So we're sort of leveraging that and her existing community and what she believes in, and merging that with Bad Women, because we really need a space, and Sonia can talk about this, for us to have important conversations that are based in fact, right? That's one of the things that Sonia and I have been noticing is missing. For me, a part of this is about storytelling. I had an epiphany in early 2025 about this idea that, I should share my story more. I'm a journalist. I'm the one who's always asking the questions, but people don't know a lot about me. And there's a power in me sharing my story. If I share that, that's an open door for somebody else to share theirs, right? They don't have to accept it, but it's an opportunity. So my interest in storytelling, Sonia's interest in fact, which I think you should talk about, Sonia, too, because you are a journalist who deals in fact. But these are the things that brought us together to create Bad Women.
And basically, we were inspired by you guys.
Honestly, honestly.
I was gonna say we have some episodes for you in the
Yeah,
archives.
we have a lot of content if you ever need it.
Yeah, some middle-aged shit
We'll
going
take
down.
it.
Some shit's going down.
I love it. Middle-aged shit. Exactly. No, that's like it really like, so I'm this, like, as you know, I'm an obsessive researcher, and I just read everything. I research just for the fun of it. I stay up at night. It's like, oh my God, like I
She
find
calls it
out
research. I call it online stalking. Tomato, tomato.
I'm with you, Sonia. Me too.
obsession.
I need to research. What do you want?
exactly. And I'm like, what do I do with all of this, right? And it takes, as you know, it takes so incredibly long to create a feature-length documentary film. And then you are constantly, you have to fundraise, and there's so many, like sort of other barriers that you're facing. But we have all of this information, especially now where um, it's it's just so hard to separate in on social media, truth from fiction. And there's so
Yeah.
much misinformation. AI is coming into all this mix. We were really thinking that we have this journalism background. We know how to fact check. We know how to find, all these original like stories and sources, and we have a pretty good, network of people. So why don't we just, try to bring it out quicker and more directly, and tell stories in all types of different forms. And a good friend of mine who is an artist also said, that's what art has always been, right? Like art and journalism, you have to adapt. You have to find ways to get out what you have to say, and we think what we know is important. So yeah, and we chose the name Bad Women because we felt that there's so many expectations across.
I love it.
Nice.
And we also love
Yes.
boobs.
Yes. Boobs.
Doesn't.
Yes.
All the
Yes.
boobs. Oh, so good.
And so, and by the way, as Danielle, actually, who's going to be on one of our shows, Danielle Scott from
Yes.
Ancestral Call, she says, she calls herself a flatty baddie. Like you can be a bad woman, however you present yourself, and how you identify. And but it really is about defying expectations, and it could
Yes.
be any sorts of expectations, right? Like I mean, all of us know it's like having a family, not having family, like it's
Mm-hmm.
just so much that you're supposed to do or not to do. And we're like, no, we're not going to have any of it. We're going to
And
be
it goes back to how we sort of started this conversation, which is about storytelling. And we can control our own narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So why shouldn't we?
That's like basically how Bitch Talk was born.
Yep.
Of like,
Boom.
Aaron's like, we don't see this, we don't hear it, so let's do it ourselves.
Yep.
Yes, that's why I said you guys are an inspiration. Like seriously, it's like you going out and just, taking the lead and filling that space and that gap. Like it really resonated with me. Like as, both like being on your show, and you having all these like thoughts that we didn't even think about, like in this conversation, but also for me as an audience.
Exactly.
It's really like hearing you just not seeing boundaries, but going out and like doing shit is amazing.
Okay,
Aw.
bad women in bitch talk. I see a partnership
There's
coming.
so
I
much.
can see it.
There's a
Yeah.
happy
So
marriage.
much.
I never thought I wanted to get married, but I will
This is
gladly
what
marry bad women.
she'll commit to this.
I'll commit to that.
Put a ring on it.
You won't cheat on us.
Oh no, are
She
you
won't.
kidding?
She won't. She's completely committed.
But also monogamy is such an old concept. Anyways, this is a good tie-in to our new
Yes.
segment. Speaking of bad women, we have a new segment at Bitch Talk that we're ending each episode with. It's called This Bitch. If both of you would like to choose someone, I mean, obviously Danielle Scott could be your This Bitch. It could be anyone, anyone that you want to give props to, or anyone that you want to vent about. Now is your stage. Who's your This Bitch currently?
Well, I'm going to just say it is because we talked so much about her, and it's like Danielle Scott is this bitch for me because she really she's a small like tower of power. Like she always says that she is like kind of shy and quiet, but man, like when you meet this woman, she has so much courage and so much energy, and we haven't even talked about like everything else that she does and how she create, like she's a visual artist, but she's also legally blind, and she has no like she doesn't let herself be put in a box, be constrained, but she just does stuff. And I think for me, seeing her and like being, and seeing how she collaborates with all these artists and with this courage, that's what we need right now. Like courage, courage, courage. Like do it, collaborate, have community, take it out and follow the people who inspire you.
So this bitch for me is going to be Sonia Kennebeck, right? Because she is really, the epitome of a lot of the things that I think a lot of women are trying to do. She's in the documentary industry, which is an incredibly hard place to be. She has successfully created feature films that have streamed on some of the most major platforms. She's constantly going against the grain of what people expect of women. And that's part of the theme of Bad Women, right? We don't have to fit into your box. She is also incredibly smart and so detail oriented, which challenges me because I'm like, oh, detail, schmetail. Like, it's okay. Let's just
We'll just go with it.
But and not only that, we, like I said earlier, we think along the same lines on so many different things. Her being this bitch is also, giving props to myself, who is this bitch. But you two are some bitches as well. So we'll end with you all as well being this bitch.
Oh, let's stay on forever.
Yeah. And we're
Feels
glad
good.
you had us on.
This feels right.
Oh, yeah, that's why I work with Tetiana, because like, first of all, she's totally embarrassing me here, but she also is like so uplifting. Like she's the one, like I make pretty dark films, normally. Like this is like
They're just real, Sonia. They're real.
Oh God, but it's like it really was nice to do something beautiful, right?
Yeah.
to do, and it's still, of course, like her art is serious, but it is beautiful, it's collaborative. But Tatiana is the person who really, when I talk about how bad the world is, she's like, but people need positivity too. Like, they have to feel good. Like you can't just feel bad about posting something positive on social media, because in order to do good, we have to be good ourselves. And we also, like, I like to be online and see that my friends, are doing well.
Yeah.
It is good to spread positive community information, because that's also a form of resistance, right? It's going against the dark forces. It's like, it's having community, having, lifting each other up. Like, that's what I've really learned from Tatiana, to be in this space where you don't have to feel bad about doing something that's positive and trying to, trying to be good.
No, that's a good reminder. Yeah, don't make me cry. Thinking about a lot of things right now, but
that's what Tatiana is really like good for, not making you cry, but like it's
feeling,
right?
It's feeling.
Exactly,
I'm feeling
it's
things.
feeling.
Yes, I'm feeling things, Tatiana.
That's also perimenopause, Erin.
We gotta
a little bit of both.
You're just hot. That's it.
It's a hot flash.
Ange thinks I need my hormones to be
checked. Yeah,
checked out.
You do.
Probably. All right, that's a different conversation. Anyway, we've been speaking with the filmmakers of Danielle Scott, Ancestral Call, Tetiana Anderson, Sonia Kennebeck. Thank you so much for being back, Sonia. You can catch this on PBS's YouTube, correct?
Correct, yes.
Great.
Just go to YouTube and punch in Danielle Scott Ancestral Call. It'll pop up.
You won't be sorry. It's the best 15 minutes and 45 seconds of your life. Thank you so much for being on Bitch Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. You can find more information about this episode in our show notes.
If you're missing us, you can visit us at bitchtalkpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter and buy us a cup of coffee.
Did you know we're also on the radio? You can find us at bff.fm.
And lastly, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All the cool bitches are doing it.